Got an email from a guy today who said he got the logo for this program tattooed onto his arm. I emailed him back. I said, you should not have done that. You may like the show today, but I could turn on you next month. My name's Mischke. I could turn on you next month. I could deliver a new podcast called the Jehovah's Witness Revival Hour. You want to be careful getting anything too permanent. People change. You could grow to hate me. Adam Levine, the front man for Maroon 5, says he's all done with tattoos. The 46-year-old spoke about his recent decision in an interview where he said he has changed his mind on tattoos. He's sort of in the what was I thinking mode, from what it sounds like. He's pretty much covered head to toe in tattoos as it is, so I think he was done whether he wanted to be done or not. There's no more room on that body for tattoos, Adam. But he says, I wanted them as a younger man. Today I think, what was I thinking? Over the years, we have to realize we become different people. That's why tattoos are tricky. You have to ask which guy is getting the tattoo, which version of you is getting the tattoo. And will the later version of you think the earlier version of you was an idiot? You really need to get this into your head, people. We're so many people over a lifetime. There's the kid, the adolescent, the late teen, the young adult, the working stiff, the older mature family person, the retired individual, the old coot. Not to mention, people have religious conversions or other dramatic things happen in their lives, radical changes that alter their thought processes. And all of that represents different people inside us with different likes and dislikes, different fashion interests, different ideas about the whole notion of what's cool and whether to bother even being interested in that. You can't be doing anything at all that's permanent in your life. You can't go down the road of anything that's going to be permanent because there are all those different people waiting to take their turn being you. The 20-year-old doesn't like the same shirt the 50-year-old likes, but the beauty of it is that the shirt from the 20-year-old can be tossed easily. It's tougher with the 19 tattoos covering your body. You see, what you got to understand is the only constant in this world is change, and tattoos are not about change. They're about permanence. That's the problem. In that way, they're kind of an insidious invention. When I was growing up, my buddy's dad, who had been a sailor in the Navy, had the only tattoo I was aware of in the whole neighborhood. That was it. Well, until state fair time, when at the freak show in the Midway, we could see the tattooed lady, which we always did. We would gladly pay to see the tattooed lady. I didn't know seeing things like that would become so commonplace, or I might have saved my quarters. I think the tattooed lady was 75 cents or something like that. Whereas the lady at the bus stop in my neighborhood today, she's free. Her name's Gretchen. She lets me look at almost all of her tattoos. The almost is key here. She's got some tucked away that I don't think anyone should ever see. Anyway, as I said, when I was a kid, it was my buddy's dad from the Navy with the tattoo and the lady in the Midway at the state fair. Somewhere along the line, as I got older, there came a time when tattoos started popping up more often, mostly on celebrities. Musicians at first, then actors. There was a time when only the people on the cutting edge of fashion were tattooed, the rock and roll rebel types. It was the moment, the brief, shining moment, when it was edgy and cool to have a tattoo, when a tattoo really stood out. Kind of like when guys first started wearing a single earring. I remember when that started as well. That period never lasts very long, that early stretch. Pretty soon everyone's doing it, and you then wait through that brief period and soon arrive at a time when the whole trend is no longer popular. And then you get the Pete Davidson types. You know Pete Davidson, the comedian? Pete's having all of his tattoos removed these days. All of them. 200 tattoos. He's getting them all yanked. Pete's the guy from SNL, Pete Davidson. He says it's going to take me years to get all of these removed, but I'm going to have them all removed. My arms are already pretty much clean, my hands and neck also, but I still have to do my torso and my back. Davidson described the process as similar to putting your arm on a grill and burning off a layer of skin. He said it's not only painful, it's also costly. He says, I've already spent $200,000 and I'm only 30% done. He said, I used to be a sad person and I felt ugly and I felt I needed to be covered up with tattoos. I don't think that way anymore, so I'm removing them, and I'm wanting to start fresh. I'm a different guy now. The new Pete Davidson has arrived, and there will be more new Pete Davidsons. More folks are coming to occupy his skin. Pete's still young. There are a lot more versions ahead. That's what you got to remember, folks. You're getting these tattoos for one version, failing to anticipate the other people that are coming along who may think wildly differently. Speaking of thinking wildly differently, as of July, human composting is now legal in the state of Minnesota. Human composting is now legal. Now, there was quite a party thrown around these parts when Prohibition ended and alcohol sales became legal again back in 1933. Quite a party. People felt set free, free to celebrate the crazy, strange, wonderful gift of being alive by toasting one another with a glass of the suds. Oh yeah, there were some parties when that became legal. I'm not sensing the same celebratory spirit with the news that we can now compost one another. Headline says, as of July, human composting now legal in the state of Minnesota. Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. We'll sing a song of cheer again. Happy days are here again. We can compost. Mom and Dad, an experience that they've never had. Word on the street is it ain't so bad. So let's compost, Mom and Dad. There are folks who pushed for this in the state legislature. Human composting. A lot of people were for it, including this fella. I'll just call him Steve. He was written about in the paper today. He always knew he didn't want a traditional burial, and he didn't want cremation, because those things are apparently pretty rough on the environment, but he had frustration finding a truly green burial option. Some funeral homes allowed for the burial of unembalmed bodies, but still provided protective burial vaults. Steve felt that ran counter to an environmentally friendly burial. Vaults are typically made of concrete. Anyway, Steve died, and he chose to have his remains turned into compost, but he had to have that done out of state, which was costly. Steve would be happy to learn that as of today, he could be composted right here in Minnesota. Composting is a practice where a body is placed in a ventilated container with a bunch of organic materials, alfalfa, straw, sawdust, and allowed to naturally decompose over 60 days until it becomes soil. Say you've always wanted to be soil, ever since you were a little kid. This is the way to accomplish it. Your friends wanted to be firemen or pro ball players. You wanted to be soil. I get it. Only a handful of states have legalized human composting. 13 as of now. 13 states have legalized human composting. So Steve, when he died, had to be sent out of state to be composted in Washington. That was costly. Now here in Minnesota, your remains can be placed inside a large vessel along with biodegradable materials. The container is well ventilated. It's about twice the size of a refrigerator. And what then starts is a long process where the body naturally decomposes and becomes nutrient-rich dirt. What you become, folks, is nutrient-rich dirt. Airflow is pumped through the vessel, which becomes warm to the touch as the temperature reaches about 130 degrees. Says here, After initial decomposition, human remains are transferred to a second vessel for a curing. Little late for that, isn't it? A curing? The person's dead. During the curing process, the temperature decreases, and that's a sign that the primary decomposition is complete. Remaining bones are then pulverized and mixed with the compost, which is then put in another vessel and allowed to sit for another 30 days. My God! Remember the Old West when a fellow was chucked into a hole and Festus made a crude cross with a couple of sticks? I loved the simplicity of life back then. You'd stick your head in the cabin door on the old plains, and you'd hear Martha screaming, and you knew a baby was coming. You heard someone say, boil some water, grab some sheets. And I always wanted to yell, and save those sheets to wrap the person in later when it's burial time. My guess is we'll be digging a hole out back, hopefully many years from now, but save the sheets, by golly. Fun to wrap them in the same sheets we used at their birth. Where was I in this composting story? Are we past the curing part yet? Yeah, we're in the last 30 days after the bones have been pulverized. Hey, can we use another word besides pulverize? It troubles me that we're all against our bones being pulverized for years while we're living, and suddenly we get all comfortable with it after we're dead. Sure, pulverize them. Doesn't hurt, just makes me smaller. A funeral director in Minnesota visited one of these composting operations, and he said 60 bodies were undergoing the composting process all at once, and there was no hint whatsoever of the scent of decay or decomposition. Didn't smell bad at all, he said. The funeral director said the place smelled like soil. It's interesting, that word. When a baby soils his pants, we don't like that smell that much. I think we play fast and loose with the term soil. I don't like it. This funeral director said he learned families are free to visit during the composting process if they want to, and the composting operation provides live streams of the containers. Live streams. Who wouldn't want to watch that? Instead of watching professional bowling on television, Connie, what say we watch your old man compost? Come here, honey, look at this. He's composting. They say he doesn't even smell bad. There he goes. See ya, Dan. It's weird to say, honey, but he's soiling himself, isn't he? After about 60 days, all that remains is compost. And families have the option of receiving all the compost in about a dozen bags or distributing it in a wooded area near the composting site. Steve's wife decided to keep 20 pounds of Steve. 20 pounds of Steve. Now remember, there's a lot of other things added in there. Remember the alfalfa, the straw, the sawdust? That's in there with Steve as well, helping him smell good. The Minnesota Catholic Conference, by the way, testified against legalizing human composting. They raised concerns about dignity and compared the practice to treating human remains like fertilizer, which is kind of like saying, like crap. Now, Steve knew the Catholic Church was against this. He's a Catholic himself. But what he said when he was alive was, they'll come around. He reminded people that the Catholics opposed cremation as well years ago, but eventually jumped on the bandwagon. Now Catholics love burning dead people. It takes a while to get excited about it. I know when I was a boy, the idea of torching my parents seemed sick, twisted. You could burn garbage in your backyard when I was growing up. So when I was a little guy, I remember walking up and down the alleys in St. Paul and smelling the garbage burning. I'd see the dads in the neighborhood gathered around the 50-gallon drums in the backyards by the garages. They'd be talking to each other, staring at the flames on autumn evenings. And I wonder if that wasn't where the whole idea of getting comfortable burning mom and dad was born. I can picture them sitting around saying, this ain't so bad. This ain't so bad, is it, Gary? Kind of comforting, really, watching all of that smoke heading off into the sky. I can imagine Mom and Dad heading off into the sky as well. Looks almost soothing. You don't typically think of Mom and Dad swirling around in the air like that, but then you remember afternoons at the state fair in the summertime and how they'd be up there on those crazy rides. I mean, was that all that different? They'd be swirling around up in the air there as well, all because we would tell them the ride was harmless and that they might even enjoy it, never imagining the two of them would be vomiting the whole time. But even that was kind of cool, the way it would end up swirling in the air above them as well. And they'd get off the rides, and their clothes would look like the paint-a-whirl offering at the spin paint booth. It was almost artful. But they didn't smell like soil. No, they did not. Nope. That's when you would have wanted to cover them in alfalfa and sawdust. Anywho. You go to a bank to get a loan for your business or a personal loan to help your family, and you're told, we're a big national operation, okay, and we have to streamline the rules and regulations. You fit within these parameters, or you hit the trail. Fit the mold or hit the skids. You hear? We're a big bank. Ick! I hate what's happened to banks. Give me the old days where you knew your banker. He was part of the community, and he knew you were too. He knew you were a good guy, trying to do well for yourself and for your family. That mattered to him. Give me the bank started by one Mike Bilski, human being first, banker second. Give me North American Banking Company. His pop was a banker, his granddad was a banker, his great-granddad was a banker, but they all did it that same old-school way, the human way. Mike Bilski started North American Banking Company here in the Twin Cities. There are now 6 branches. One of them's near you. Make it your bank. A bank for people like you and I.
North American Banking Company. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I like to stop at Spectacle Shop. I like to stop at Spectacle Shop. My average eyes, man, they pop when framed by eyewear at Spectacle Shop. Say A1, say tip-top, say those were bought at Spectacle Shop. How much did you have to drop to go looking so good at Spectacle Shop? Oh, you're funny. It ain't about money, it's about my eyes and what I prize. It's about the windows to my soul and what's important as I get old. My eyes are gems, they are jewels. If I went elsewhere, I'd be a fool. People, this is not a hard decision. I need lenses made with precision. I need to see the best I can and look as cool as Superman. So there's never any doubt where I'm going to stop. Spickety, spackety, Spectacle Shop. 4 Twin Cities locations voted best eyewear shop in Minnesota in every poll the Star Tribune has ever had. I've been doing some reading of late on human relationships, and I've been learning a whole lot. I came across an article in Psychology Today talking about couples and how to really make a relationship work. And it involves, astoundingly, becoming an animal, something you may not have planned on. They say the key to any healthy relationship with almost every couple is to be one of 2 creatures. And you should be able to ask yourself which of these creatures you are and get an answer, and which one your partner is and get an answer. What they say you need to determine is, are you a big old friendly golden retriever who just likes everybody and is gregarious and friendly? Or are you a black cat, a bit more wary and introverted, but smart and loyal, devoted, just not up for joining the party-goers? The relationship that works best, from what I have gleaned, is when a black cat gets together with a golden retriever. These are apparently the 2 dominant personality types in relationships, and people tend to fall into one of these categories, golden retriever or black cat. The retriever is energetic and engaged. The black cat, a more reserved, enigmatic, and independent demeanor. but they complement one another, and it's an ideal arrangement, according to what I read, and one you should go looking for. You black cats out there, you get a retriever. You golden retrievers out there, you get yourself a black cat. Or so I read. Personally, I say, hold on a minute. It's a big old world out there. You been out there, people? You looked around out there at all? I've been thinking hard about this. There are billions and billions of people on this planet. It's too varied a world to expect only black cats and golden retrievers to get together. What the flamin' hooty-hooskey's going on here? Surely there must be a time when a golden retriever inadvertently ends up choosing a little cottontail rabbit or some burrowing gopher. What then? What then? Or the black cat couples with a goat for a weekend. A wild weekend, a frenzied weekend, unbridled debauchery. Who monitors that? What do we know about that, how that ends up? What falls apart exactly there? Or the gazelle, who is seen on a Saturday night date with a cow, a big old farm cow. Why does that go south? Who's to blame? The wild boar who falls for a chipmunk or a squirrel, the soaring eagle who chooses inexplicably the skunk. I've lived long enough to see it all, frankly. There are all kinds in this world, all kinds. The aardvark is spotted with the guinea pig, the walleye with the tarantula, the elephant with the deer tick. Now, I'm not speaking literally. These are personality types. And you know if you're a deer tick. Believe me, you know if you're a deer tick. There's a lady in my neighborhood who's a deer tick. She knows it. She's admitted it. We've talked about it. Her husband has one of those red bullseye rashes on his back constantly. Not literally, of course, not literally, but you know what I mean. I've been trying to figure out what animal he is for over a decade now. Elusive SOB. I've fluctuated between thinking he's a freshwater jellyfish and then suddenly being certain he's a horse mackerel. He only gets out of the house about twice a year, so it's tough. I often wonder what's going on in that house the rest of the time. Sometimes when the windows open in the summer, I can hear splashing. Don't know what to make of that. You guys have this at all in your neighborhoods? A house where the people rarely, if ever, emerge? What is going on there? We have 2 houses like that. The shades are drawn, always. Lawn gets cut by some service. And the lives of those who own this property are lived wholly indoors. The land they traverse is a very private land. They visit the nations of living room, bathroom, kitchen, and bedroom, respectively. They live on planet Earth only in the sense that that's where their house can be found, but they don't leave that house. So the planet is actually their house, and it exists in a solar system called Earth. These people are mysteries. Sometimes I see the glow of a television in the late evening, through the window, but other times I see flickering candlelight, or what seems to be flickering candlelight, and what seems to be the shadows of antlers or something. My wife says they practice some kind of religion that used to be more common on the planet, but has mostly fallen by the wayside, what with the end of the Neolithic period. I don't know exactly how my wife knows this. She says she had to borrow a cup of laundry detergent one afternoon, apparently gained some insight just waiting on the doorstep. I mean, she's no dummy. The door was cracked open, she said, and she saw just enough to kind of connect the dots. The guy was filling a tub with bird feathers or something like that, and the woman had bear grease on her cheeks that she had tried to wipe away so my wife wouldn't notice. My wife did get the cup of laundry detergent, but I told her I wasn't even comfortable using it after she told that story. I swear my clothes smelled like yak for the remainder of that month. You know what yak smells like? Mischke. You guys have a house like this in your neighborhood? My wife and I like to take walks in the early evening, and we pass the various neighborhood homes, and we comment on this or that. Boy, they have a nice garden. Or, isn't that interesting the way they're making a retaining wall out of those large rocks? How come that lady there hangs her wash out to dry in the front yard instead of the backyard? Are those hip waders, or is that her underwear? Wow! You people do that? Just walk along the sidewalk in your neighborhood, commenting on the different houses? Why do you suppose they're keeping that Christmas manger scene in place throughout the whole summer? You think someone should check on them? Wait, what is that smell? That sort of thing. Just walking around and commenting. I'm sure everyone does this. You can't help but comment on what you see. Look, Wendy's book club must have wanted to enjoy the pleasant weather tonight, and they're meeting in the yard instead of in the house. Actually, the discussion must be over. I think that's called Indian wrestling, what they're doing there. Maybe the book wasn't that interesting this time around. Is it fair that that large woman is winning every time? I bet she suggested the Indian wrestling. Oh, keep walking, honey. They're looking at us. Just keep walking. Well, this just in. 3 brothers are hoping to set a record time for rowing across the Pacific Ocean, having already rowed across the Atlantic Ocean. 3 brothers from Scotland. They left Peru, headed to Sydney, Australia, in a custom-built rowboat. 3 brothers rowing across the ocean. They'll row in 2-hour shifts around the clock, and they're going to face some extreme weather, not to mention sleep deprivation and isolation and hallucinations. I expect hallucinations with the sleep deprivation. You want mermaids, guys, but you are going to get giant squids with human heads. I've dealt with sleep deprivation. The interesting part of this story to me is the initial idea being broached. I would have liked to have been there when the idea was first brought up. I just think the most interesting part of the whole escapade is the initial notion, and then asking the other brothers, you want to do this? Because a lot had to happen there. Everyone had to agree that this sounded fun. And I have brothers, and it's hard to get agreement on much of anything with them. Want to row across the ocean? No. Why not? Because it seems really hard. Okay. That's one conversation I would have expected. That apparently didn't happen here. Then there's the want to row across the ocean? Well, I'd like to row somewhere, but across the ocean? I just think after a while I'd get bored and want to do something else. So, no. What other possibilities were there? Want to row across the ocean? Yeah, I do. Do you? Yeah, I kind of do. Okay, let's ask our other brother. Nope, he says that doesn't sound fun at all. Shoot, only 2 of the 3 of us wanted to do it. Forget it then. I think a lot of questions like, would you like to row across the ocean, would be answered with, no, but I'd go to a movie if you'd like to do that. Want to go to a movie? Or, want to row across the ocean? No, but I'll go sailing with you for a little while this afternoon. Want to go sailing? But I wanted to row across the ocean. I know, but I have a job. Oh, right, I forgot you work. Want to row across the ocean? Well, couldn't we just buy a motor and go that route? Well, what's wrong with rowing? Well, it's just that it's a lot faster if we use a motor. Then we could relax a lot more, you know? I really wanted to row. Yeah, I don't. Want to row across the ocean? We did that one other time, remember? We did that. I know, but that was the Atlantic. This is the Pacific. Yeah, but it's the same thing, really. Big body of water, you know? Shouldn't we find some variety in our lives? Maybe shooting pool or playing with a frisbee or something. Let's do something different. Oh, man, I like rowing. Yeah, I know, that's all you talk about, rowing. What is that? I don't know. I think all of these responses that I'm providing right now would be more common than one brother saying, "Want to row across the ocean?" and the two other brothers saying, yeah, we would like to do that. I actually don't think the rowing across the ocean part is the rare or unusual thing here. I think it's the moment the first brother thinks of doing it, number one, because again, remember, we can get across the ocean in far easier ways now, and then his two brothers one at a time saying, "Yeah, count me in, sure." I don't think we spend enough time in these sorts of feats analyzing how the moment is arrived at or the decision is made to move forward, how that nod of the head from three different people comes about. To me, it's no different than saying to a friend of mine, "Hey, want to crawl with me to the grocery store?" Yeah, that sounds good. It's going to take a long time, I should warn you. That's okay. Okay, but I should just say it's going to be kind of hard, too. But you do want to crawl to the grocery store? Oh, yeah. And after we do that, crawl to a completely different grocery store in some other part of town. It's a challenge. I think it's extraordinary to get to that moment, and this is still a long way from the planning and the orchestrating of the actual adventure. Just getting people to say yes to this. Mark Wahlberg has already said he wants to make a movie about these brothers. I just want to make a movie about the part where they agree to do this. I'd ignore all the rest of it. I just want a movie about how they get to the point where they say, "Rowing? Yeah, I got nothing else going on. Sure." The title of my movie would be called, "Are You Kidding Me?" That's what I'd call my movie. I'd title it, "Are You Kidding Me?" Either that, or the title of the film might be, "The Answer is No." The answer is no. Or the title of the film might be, "What's Wrong with Just Playing Catch?" or something. There's a smiling guy joking with an older woman by the ice cream shop, and there's a woman laughing with her friend in the courtyard. Two residents are walking and talking intently as they stroll to the dining area, and a staff member there is kidding with another resident about how she's going to steal his dessert, and he's laughing. Flowers are being inhaled by another resident as she passes these beautiful flowers in a vase. It's reminding her of her own garden when she was younger. Life is happening here, right here. Life, wonderful life. And this is a memory care facility. This is where people go at the end of their lives. This is the Wellshire, a memory care facility that never forgets that at the end of life, there's still a lot of living to be done, and it ought to be beautiful. Tour the Wellshire of Medina and Bloomington. You won't send your loved one anywhere else once you've seen it. Just remember the name, the Wellshire. Retirement. The word can sound boring, like a person who collects coupons. But you could have a retirement plan that has you sprinting like a gazelle toward the future. Let me introduce you to Josh Arnold. Josh is your secret weapon. Do you want to trust your retirement to some investment advisor who looks at numbers the way most people look at a beige wall? Josh Arnold is offering a 48-minute consultation to you for free. That's right, free. No hard sales pitch. Just straight-up expert advice from a man who's been in the investment business for over 40 years. Josh Arnold, a financial ninja who doesn't just guard your money, he grows it. Call him today, 952-925-5608. Rewind this, write it down, call him, tell him where you heard about him.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security and investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. Tommy Mischke is a paid endorser.
Don't touch that phone.
Will somebody please get that phone?
All right, it's time to page through the old listener phone directory and talk to a listener. These are all names here, names and numbers of people who have texted me and let me know their first name and that it's okay for me to ring them from time to time to chat, and they make it into the listener phone directory. Then I periodically, randomly, call people off that list. You can get on that list, by the way, if you want to. My phone number, 651-321-8949. Make it into a song. 651, 321, chica, chica, 89-49. That's the number, that is mine. 651, 321, 89-49. That's the number, that is mine. 651, 321, 89-49. That's the number, that is mine. You got it memorized? Let's make a call.
Hello,
DJ Howie Do It Wallstein.
that's me.
What kind of a name is that?
It says fun.
I'm enjoying myself already, and I haven't even really met you yet. DJ Howie Do It Wallstein. What's the do it part?
I do events all over the Twin Cities, from State Fair to Valley Fair to Mall of America to even the smallest graduation parties and school-age programs.
What is it that you do?
It's a high-energy event that make adults feel like kids and kids feel like rock stars. When was the last time you saw an adult skip? Mischke, when was the last time you skipped?
You know, it has been a long, long time.
After years and years, what I've done is I've compiled a playlist of all these really fun songs, and I'll mix them up.
You're a DJ.
Yeah, I'm a
You're
DJ.
a DJ. Why didn't you just say that?
I'm not just a DJ. I bring a dance partner along that just makes kids jump out of their shoes.
You arrive as a DJ playing music and you bring an extra person to dance around?
Yes.
Scantily clad, or what's going on there?
No. I'm a disc jockey. Doing the same thing I did when I was 17 years old, and now I'm 65.
When you were 17, give me a sense of what you started doing.
I would play at roller skating rinks. I was the nerdy kid. How does a nerdy kid go after girls? What you do is you play music.
What typically playing music means when you're a nerd and wanting a girl is playing an instrument, a musical instrument.
It took time to practice. You know, the cool thing about playing records, I've met some really cool superstars. I danced with Tina Turner.
How did you end up dancing with Tina Turner?
My mother was the head secretary of Target Records back in the day. I went backstage to meet Tina Turner. I said, you know, you're quite a fine dancer. Is there any way I can dance with you? And she said, sure. So I spun her around a little bit. I dipped her and took a picture.
You're standing in front of Tina Turner and you're about to dance with her and you're looking right at her. This is a woman who has only existed in your dreams up till this moment. What was it like?
She's so kind. I swear to God, it's almost as if she was just a neighbor lady.
The old lady in the neighborhood who offers cookies to the kids, was she kind of like that?
No, stunningly gorgeous.
I was waiting for you to get there, but you went down the cookie lady road. She's not the neighbor lady. She's otherworldly.
I met Meatloaf.
I hear that when you meet Meatloaf in person, he is absolutely gorgeous. Do you really call yourself DJ Howie Do It Wallstein?
I do. I even have little jingles when I play music.
So you have been a DJ and nothing but a DJ since you were a teenager.
That's correct. I've lived a blessed life.
But here's the $64,000 question. Did it get you a girl?
I'm working on 3 divorces.
Apparently, you didn't have that much luck with women.
I've had lots of luck with women, but I think it's hard to live with people. You get 2 people together, and they always have different interests and whatever, and at some point, it's really hard to compromise. It's like as I'm getting older, I'd like to get out of the winter here in Minnesota.
Oh, you big baby. Why don't you learn to love it instead? Why don't you learn to embrace it? Why don't you follow the Finns who figured out long ago that the secret to happiness, and by the way, they're the happiest people on earth according to surveys, the secret of happiness is to embrace what is before you. When it's winter, love it, dive into it, embrace it. When it's spring, do the same. Summer, do the same. Autumn, do the same. Quit running away. That's been your problem. That's why you've been married 3 times. Run, 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 run.
You know, winter is awfully long here.
Well, that's like saying life is long. Embrace what you have while it's there. One day it'll be gone. You know how many people just before they breathe their last say to themselves, winter's kind of long? None. None. If they could be given 24 more hours and it was a winter day, they'd take it.
The problem is once you've had a taste of warmer weather in January or February or March, my daughter used to live in Hawaii.
The only reason, my friend, the only reason you loved Hawaii was because you were coming out of the winter. Everything is experienced in contrast, literally everything. You can't know one without the other. So the thrill of Hawaii was that you were coming from Minnesota. If you just live in Hawaii, it goes away. It's just another place. Enjoy winter here and let it give you the thrill of spring. Enjoy summer so you can feel the cool breeze of autumn and go, I love that. Enjoy the quiet of a snowfall on a winter night and contrast it with the frenzy of a summer evening in the city. All of life is understood solely in contrast. Quit running.
So you don't ever want to get away from winter here?
You can get away for a week. You can get away for 10 days. You can get away for 2 weeks. But come back. The idea that you can't take winter, to me, is like saying you can't take life. You said earlier, when was the last time you skipped? You were hearkening back to childhood. I'm telling you, why don't you find that child that used to like sliding down hills in the winter, that used to like skating, that used to like making snowmen, Mr. I Embrace Childhood? Why don't you not be an old guy running for Florida or Hawaii and become a kid again and live?
Maybe. I think you're a wonderful human being.
Well, that's very kind of you. Let me ask you this before I wrap up. How many of those women did you tell when you walked down the aisle, I'm going to make you fall in love with being a kid again. Our life together is going to be a waltz straight back to childhood?
All of them. I still remember you from the great round mound, whatever, back in the day. I emulated you. You have a childlike personality. You embrace the child or the exciting part of life. There's only one Mischke now. I mean, there's nobody doing your type of shtick.
I appreciate you saying that, and I hope we talk again sometime. In the meantime, keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like it's working out for you. What music is most popular with the youngsters these days? What do they like to hear? What do you get requests for the most?
It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos?
Yeah. As soon as I put it on, it's like I just played Freebird, you know?
Do you know the lyrics?
It's raining tacos.
Sounds like a delightful way to make a living.
It really is.
I appreciate your time. Thanks, Howie, for visiting with me.
Thank you, Mischke. Bye-bye.
Hello?
Big Fork, Montana.
Tommy.
Can you still, if you want to, disappear in Montana? Check out from the rest of the world? Disconnect?
Great question. Yes, you can, and there are places you can. It's getting harder. But there's places you can get to where no one knows where you are. Yep.
Have you ever been hiking and encountered a grizzly bear?
I would not say encountered. Seen plenty. The closest one I've had was on the deck of our house.
I call that an encounter.
That was an encounter. I mean, I did have a door with a glass window between us. When I realized it was a grizzly, and a good-sized grizzly, rather than my video camera, I got a 44. My wife's reminded me that the most frightening animal we've ever encountered hiking was a spruce grouse. I had to kick that thing 3 times, and it kept coming back at me.
Spruce grouse? I've been chased by a rooster. I wanted to say I got my head stoved in by a rooster, but that didn't happen. I just got chased. I've always wanted to say that I got my head stoved in by something. I just love that descriptive
You like that
word.
term?
Yeah. Who was the lead singer for Little Feat? He used that. Lowell George.
I don't know Little Feat.
Oh.
You
You
guys,
don't know that band? I've been kicked by the wind, robbed by the sleet, had my head stoved in, but I'm still on my feet. It's a beautiful way to talk about having a rough run, but hanging in there nonetheless.
You were out in Montana one time, weren't you?
I parked myself in Butte, Montana for a spell. I hadn't intended to stay there. I was going to keep moving, but once I got to Butte, I thought, why would I leave here? It was a different city then than it is now.
Yeah.
This would have been in the mid-'80s.
Okay.
It
Right when I
felt
was going out to
like
Minnesota, yeah.
1947 America. There were no fast food joints. There were no chain operations.
Yes.
And we're talking
Yep.
about a significant town, 30,000 or something like
Yep.
that.
Oh, yeah.
And it had so many quirks that it deserved to be called Butte, America, not Butte, Montana. It was so different from the rest of Montana.
Yes.
And who was my buddy there? Evel Knievel, my drinking mate.
Yes.
I'd
right.
find him at Jerry's Corner Bar at 10 a.m., and I'd sit with him and talk about how you can cut yourself shaving with an electric razor. That's about as interesting as our conversations got. I wanted to talk about Caesar's Palace, but nope.
What were you doing when you lived there?
I was working the door at the Silver Dollar Saloon. Believe it or
Okay.
not, I was assigned the door.
That's
and,
right. That's right.
The toughest
remember you
people I
saying
met
that
in
now.
Montana were women. One 45-year-old woman punched me pretty hard in the face one night. We threw her out of the bar and didn't faze her. She got up, ran to the plate glass window, and put her fist through it. And she was arrested. And you know what's
That
interesting?
sounds like Butte.
When she was bailed out by her husband, Jerry from Jerry's Corner Bar, the same bar
There you
Evel
go.
Knievel hung
Yeah.
out at. Everybody knew everybody. Lovely town. It had tunnels under the city, opium dens, formerly used by the Chinese years and years ago. And it
Let's
had the
talk
old
about-
brothel still standing, the multi-floor brothel with the curtains blowing out of the broken windows. The hookers had long ago left, but the brothel was still there for all the miners. It had a vibe.
Yes.
Where did you meet your wife?
Bible college.
You may be the only person I ever talked to who says that. I
That
met
was?
my
It said that?
girl. She was hammered at the Bible college. She said the fellas all get prettier around closing time. Coming to the end of my day here, so I'm going to head out. And
All righty.
great talking to you. I'll visit with you
I
again
appreciate
sometime.
you calling. Thanks for calling.
Sure. Take care. So long.
Okay. Bye.
Well, that's going to do it for this show, folks. Remember, there are 2 shows this week, as there will be every week. So another one coming out in a couple of days. That one, by the way, will feature an interview with James Barat. He's written a book called The Intelligence Explosion, When AI Beats Humans at Everything. An extraordinary book, The Intelligence Explosion. Everything you need to know about AI and where we're headed. That's on the next installment of Mischke. So be listening for that, and thanks for catching this show. Until next time, so long.